Welcome to the Unscripted Podcast. My name's Corby LaCroix, and the song you're hearing right now is called Great and Mighty One, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your music. But for now, here's your host and my friend, Aaron Conrad.
Great Redeemer, God of grace.
It's Grace Week, Day 1. I decided to do something new this year as we enter the week leading up to Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Because one of the greatest gifts that happened on Calvary was the gift of grace. I'm going to take time each day this week and focus on that. I thought it would be good to remind myself of that amazing grace every single day. If you'd like, feel free to follow along throughout this week. Today is Day 1. Today I titled A Lesson in Grace. You know, several years ago, I received a lesson in grace, and hopefully I taught one as well. It was bedtime hour, and I was putting the kiddos to bed. My youngest daughter requested some juice in a sippy cup to place beside her bed. She got used to that during a recent battle with the flu, and so I didn't mind agreeing to her request. My middle child heard the request, and she decided she'd like a little bedside refreshment too. One problem. She had been known to sleep through the night and her potty alarm, if you know what I mean. Knowing that she would have this issue, trying to avoid further problem, I kindly explained that she probably shouldn't, as, you know, it might lead to her wetting the bed. Since I'm a softie, and when it comes to my girls, the hour was late, and I just didn't have it in me to argue. And so you guessed it, I gave her a sippy cup too. Everyone went to bed, and without a hitch, and I enjoyed the next 2 hours of watching television. After a few hours of downtime, I decided to catch up on some work in my home office. And that's when it happened. Small footsteps, sleepy child walking in my office. A quivering lower lip, embarrassed on her face. A tear forming in her eye. It was decision time for Daddy. In that instant, I knew this could go one of two ways. While my human nature was screaming, "I told you so," there was still small voice. It softly whispered, "Be careful here, Dad. You've got this child's heart and maybe even her future understanding of God right in the palm of your hand. Don't blow this." After confirming that she had, in fact, wet the bed, I decided to take a route that she wasn't expecting me to take. Grace. I motioned to my little one to come and sit on my lap. Thankfully, she had already changed her pajama pants. I then wrapped my arms around her and simply, softly whispered that I knew it was an accident. I explained that Mommy and Daddy know what they're saying when we ask them to not do certain things. I then told her that I loved her. It was okay, and we would clean up her bed. Once all the cleanup was complete and she was back in bed, asleep, and her heart and spirit were still intact. Hopefully one day she'll remember that her Father's love is like that of our Heavenly Father. How many times have I done what I knew I should not have done? How many times has it gone as predicted? How often have I experienced God's grace in those circumstances? God has every reason to hold my foolish decisions and move over me. My list of wrongs is much longer than the list of the things I get right. Remarkably, Good Friday happened, so he doesn't have to. Good Friday happened, so each day I experience a grace beyond my understanding. There's lessons learned, and hopefully lessons taught. Grace. To quote Matthew West, there's only grace, there's only love, there's only mercy, and believe me, it's enough. I close this episode and every episode this week with my friends Tori and Shauna and their song, The Love of Jesus. Please take a moment, pause, listen, and reflect about the love of Jesus. And we'll see you tomorrow for day 2.
There are no dimensions you can never measure his love. There are no equations or any calculations greater than his love. The love of Jesus. Deserving, he showed us mercy and love. Took the nails in his hand, did it for all men just because of his love. No death, no measure the way, the truth, and the light. The love of Jesus has no end. The love of Jesus can't measure the way, the truth, and the light. The love of Jesus.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Unscripted Podcast with your host, Aaron Conrad. Make sure to like, share, follow, and review on your favorite podcast platforms. Also, make sure to check out my song, Great and Mighty One, on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your music. We'll see you next time on Unscripted with Aaron Conrad.